So, John Burr is one of the main speakers with Eliana and myself at the conference, and with Davey, and with Karen Wheeler, and Linda Holmeyer, and Amanda Lee Morris. And John is this magician, is how I see him. I went to a workshop with him in Utah, and for 4 days, he just orchestrated the most amazingly creative work out of us. And we were dumbfounded by being able to sing and dance and create and do sand. It was just amazing. And I know, Eliana, you and John have worked together as well.
Yeah, I mean, and he's just someone who's very spirited and creative and inviting. And we've had some really interesting conversations. So I really like him. And I always think that he has a lot to offer. And he invites you into his world in a very special way. So I'm really excited he's going to be there and that we'll get a chance to do a dialogue and just, let him come forward because he has so much good stuff to say.
He certainly does.
And everyone else too, Karen and all the other people that were mentioned, Linda. I'm so excited. Looking forward.
Well, hi there. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Play Therapy Community Podcast. I am super excited about today's episode. We're going to learn all about the World Association for Sand Therapy Professionals. It's an amazing association, and there's been some new things happening that I can't wait to get into. And you're going to be really pleased with who the guests are because they're some of the best in the field. Before we get started, though, I want to just have you hear from them. And if you could, just describe yourself, tell people who you are and what you do. You want to start off, Roz?
I'd be happy to. My name is Roz Heiko, and I love sand. I have loved sand ever since I went to the beach in Jones Beach on Long Island, and played in it. So I have made my life's work around sand work. I'm a psychologist and an RPTS and a sand play therapist with a couple of organizations. And I am very proud to say that I'm a member of the executive committee of the World Association. It's been a pleasure to work with amazing people.
Oh, that's awesome. How old were you where you were on that beach when you're like referring back? Were you a young girl?
Well, since my grandson says that I was born before the dinosaurs came, that was quite a long time ago. I remember just being at the beach since I was a baby. There are pictures of me with mom plunking me down and me just playing and making patties and mud piles and everything. I love that.
Oh, I love the thought of it, a baby Roz at the beach and getting her first dose of sand.
You mean like throwing the sand at people? No, no, no. I was such a good child. I was a good kid.
Well, awesome. Thanks for being here today. And Davey?
For having us.
Oh, thank you so much, Jackie. What a privilege to be here with this great group of people. I'm Davy Stein-Kiley. I'm a therapist in private practice in Indianapolis, Indiana. I've been practicing for 35 years. I took a bit of a break in my career and worked in management for nearly 15 years. Loved that. Did a lot of clinical supervision and placing social workers in schools. And as a function of that, did a lot of sand tray work that was oriented towards that organizational effort and working through different sort of blocks in creativity or conflicts that we were having within our management or decision-making entities. And that was fabulous. And since that time, I kind of took another career turn and came back into private practice a few years back so I could be near my parents who are aging and just wanted to be with them. Studied brain spotting. So I've been studying brain spotting for a few years, and I'm now currently studying as a doctoral student the impact of brain spotting and sand therapy used in a combined intervention. So I'm really excited to see how that research develops. And I have really loved sand therapy, honestly, since I studied the work of Milton Erickson. And I loved the idea of doing sneaky therapy, just the idea that people could come in and get help and maybe not even know what happened, but they're better. And so that is in part how I became interested in play therapy and then sand therapy. And of course, now brain spotting just is right in that same vein. And I love the work.
Oh my goodness, what amazing work you're doing. The sneaky therapy. It does seem like that after a sand tray session, you feel different in your body. So you're integrating that with brain spotting.
Correct. Yes.
Wow. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome, Lillian.
Hey, I'm Lillian Smith, and I live in North Carolina. I'm in private practice, and I've been doing it since 2010. Love sand. I fell in love with it when I went to my first NCAPT conference, and just really fell in love with it. Before I had this career, I was teaching first grade for about 17 or 18 years, and so I thought, hey, why don't I go to graduate school and become a therapist? And then it just sort of like led to sand somehow, and I just have fallen in love with sand, and really, it's incredible. So.
Oh, did you say first grade?
I did.
You've never told me that before. That's
Oh.
awesome.
And I also got to tell you that my first sand experience was I grew up in the prairies of Alberta, Canada. And so my parents decided to take their 5 children to Hawaii. And that was my first sand experience. Oh my gosh.
In Hawaii, girl, I just got chills. And thinking about Alberta, Canada, I've been there. There's not a lot of sand there. It is a really cool place, like literally and
Especially in January, that's when they took us.
That's a good time to go on vacation to Hawaii.
Yeah, hard to come home, hard to come back, but nice to go.
That like affected the whole trajectory of your life. You built your career around it.
There you go.
Beautiful. Oh, well, thanks for being here. And Ileana?
Yeah, thank you. It's really just lovely to hear everything that's been said so far. And I think likewise, my name is Eliana Gill, and I live in Florida at the moment, about 10 minutes from the beach. And I try to go there as much as I can. But I was having this introspection about sand, and that I grew up in South America. So my first language is Spanish. And when we would come to this country, obviously there's the immersion thing. You go to school with all the kids who speak English. And I think that's when I first became less in love with verbal communication. And that's when I first learned how to somehow communicate my presence and my essence without using words. Mm-hmm. And if you fast forward, I think the expressive therapies are so inviting to me and so appealing because of that experience that I have of trying to speak in a language that people could understand. And so for me, sand therapy has always been that kind of opportunity to be with myself or to be with others, but using an alternative way of communicating. So I just, like everyone else, have always been in love since I first became acquainted with sand therapy, which was I think 1975 would have been the first exposure I had. And I think I've mentioned this to you, Roz, but I went to a workshop with Dora Koff. And so I don't ever say I was trained by Dora Koff, because I wasn't. I went to a workshop and there she was. And wow, the passion and the enthusiasm and just her presence was so inspiring. And I remember driving home from Santa Cruz, California, going, I'm going to go get a box. I'm going to go get sand. And that's how I got going. And then sort of backtracked into studying more and more about it. But it was like an immediate invitation. And I just went full on. So yeah, I love it. And I practice it almost daily. I have a little thing set up in the garage and just go out there, and my hands want to be in it, and the miniatures, obviously, and making do without my big collection, but just collecting things from outside, everything looks like a miniature to me. So, what can I say? So anyway, that's my love of sand tray too.
Well, I love just the vision of you driving. I'm going to get a box. I'm going to get a box. And then you became Dr. Eliana Gill, or you might have, earned your PhD before that. But the way you described her is the way that I see you. Just that passion. I mean, all of that. That's the way you are to us. So
thank you.
Really, really neat to be with you all in this. And I know at the time of this recording, there's a new journal that is out and there's some research being done. I mean, this is a big time in history when we talk about sand therapy. So let's just jump right in.
I just want to give a huge shout out to Linda Homeyer, who really from WASP has driven this passion to have a journal that speaks to the work and the background work, the research that's being done, and that is a scholarly effort, because that really goes right along with the values of WASP, if you will. And really one of those values is competency. So we want to espouse competency by having people have these educational opportunities, and studying that research is really very important for us in that direction. So early on, WASP developed a research committee with the effort to understand better what therapists who conduct sand therapy see as being the really essential core skills and the key character traits of sand therapists. So that data was collected, and that is in part some of the work that Dr. Homeyer has put together along with Jessica Stone, and that was one of the first things published in the journal, which has recently come out. And I love it that is available, and we can take a look at that and understand better what master level sand therapists see as the core traits of sand therapists. And we're collecting more data so that we can have a better understanding of what core competencies are in the field of sand therapy. And so working in that direction, we just want to understand better how sand therapists might approach their training and have that sort of competency that's important in the work.
Oh, I love it.
Do you want to say more? What am I missing?
You're not missing anything. I think one of the things that I love about our organization, the World Association, is that we're inviting all kinds of sand therapists to bring their work together. And so everyone is welcome, and we are looking at all kinds of different ways to practice that. And Dr. Homeyer has set up an editorial board that is a worldwide group of editors, and that's really exciting. There's a book review. They have all kinds of interesting features as well, and it's been really an exceptional achievement that she and her team have done.
Well, I love that. I love the book that she wrote with Marshall Lyles too. It's so good. The advanced sand tray. I can't remember the name of it. We'll put a link below to all of what's being described that's available below this video. I know at the time of this recording, there's a conference that's planned as well, and is like talking about like trainings and competencies. And when I look at like the people that are going to be presenting at this conference, it looks amazing. Could you chat about that a bit?
I would love to. I'm the chair of that conference, and we are just really excited to have people join us in Santa Fe at the La Fonda, and for an all-inclusive experience. So come and be fed. We have food that we are going to, but we also are going to have some really just privileged to have some master level presenters with us. And Eliana is our keynote speaker, and she will also be doing part of a panel with Roz and with John Burr, who was unable to be here today, but just really excited about, I think the thing is just for us to be together and do sand with masters in the field. And so Eliana and Roz, as part of the masters, is there anything you'd like to say about the conference? That we're just really excited.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to it, and I've been percolating. It's not going to be like a formal speech, much more kind of a sharing, a dialogue, an introspective kind of moment to really look at where we are with the field. And it's really changing, and there's so many modalities, and people are so excited. And at the same time, I guess, a little bit older, so I keep thinking about, how do you deepen the work? How do you not rush through everything that you're doing? How do you take time, pause, reflect, and connect with people? Basically, you're looking at my unconscious connecting with their unconscious, connecting on a level that we don't usually operate in. And sometimes we miss that if we're not really available for connection and if we're in a rush. And it worries me sometimes to see the practitioners I've got 6 clients back to back to back to back. And so what does that mean to me? It means that they're wrapping up their sessions and moving right on without taking a second to have closure of that human being that just laid themselves bare through the sand tray, and moving on to the next one. And I keep encouraging people, do closure, thank the tray, thank the person, hold the miniatures, make them warm before you put them on, but take some little bit of time before moving so quickly. And so I'm really into this whole experiential piece, that we're missing so much of our own potential to grow by not being as, patient and taking the time to really explore and reflect and take in as much as we can, because the client is having his or her experience with us, and we're affected by it. And sometimes we forget to allow that to be there and to recognize it and value it, because, we don't always have that in other kinds of interactions that we have with our clients. So anyway, so that's what's on my mind. That's a lot of what's on my mind. And I'm really excited just to be in Santa Fe. It's like the perfect place for sand therapy conference. It's just so spiritual. I just love it there. And I was mentioning, I've been there many times with other conferences, and I always just leave so full. It's just such a beautiful space. So anyway, but that's kind of some of the thoughts on my mind, just the percolating piece.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I've never even thought about taking a miniature. I get this from Teresa Fraser. I keep it thinking about warming it up with my body heat. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So many things we could be doing,
One of our colleagues in North Carolina, Stacy Nally, has taken what she's doing at the end of sessions with children and teens and the parents that she works with, and she takes a tray, a small tray, and it happens to be round, and she invites them. There are kind of battery operated candles or other regular candles that are available, and she invites them to finish whatever they've done in the session, in the play session or the sand session, to finish in the tray and to light candle or candles. And it is such an amazing thing, Eliana, to think about kind of closing when we go into that liminal space. A lot of times we say to each other as therapists, and I say it in trainings, and I've heard it in many trainings, trust the process. Yes. The fact is that we want results. Parents want results. Adults want results. Not the kids so much, not the teenagers so much, but and when we say trust it, what does that mean? So a lot of questions that, as Naomi Remen said, we sit together and ask in good company.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
You write that down.
Yeah. Boy, that gave me chills. It makes me think about that the Rumi poem, the guest house, about inviting everyone in. and being together.
Oh, Jackie, that is such an amazingly powerful. Invite them all in. Invite them all in. And that gives me chills because uh, we're coming not out of the pandemic, but we're moving out of something in that way. And it's we're so beset and so frustrated and so whatever, full. There's been so much anxiety. And to invite in what is deep, like Eliana, and all of us, Davy and Lillian, it's too much sometimes. But the fact is, it's with us anyway. We might as well invite it in, smiling.
Yeah. Oh, you all are a beautiful group of people. I think about like how deep and how powerful Santray is and how playful and loving you all are. So it can go to kind of quote Tammy Van Hollander, I have her on a little clip of a video where she's like, can go to the deepest and darkest of places, but there's this safety and this love and this connection together. So, and I hear the wisdom coming from all of you, and it's just beautiful knowing the power of this type of therapy and just imagining what this conference is going to be like. It's going to be
We have
incredible.
also been so lucky to have her as a board member, and as a founding member of the board.
Yeah, she's wonderful. I was thinking too about that. There was an image that I think it was you, Lillian, that had everyone fly into Santa Fe.
Okay.
I posted it, and Jamie Lynn Langley commented on. She's like, "Look, John is in the hot air balloon."
Right.
People are coming from all over, like literally. I think that was what you were illustrating there. Oh, that's beautiful. All right. So, anything else that would be helpful to share regarding whether it's a journal, any kind of training opportunities, the conference, anything about World Association for Sand Therapy Professionals or anything?
We're just really looking forward to inviting folks, whether they can come to the conference or not, to join us, to find out what we're doing and to be part of what we're doing. We would love people to volunteer. And Davy, Lillian, anything you want to add to that?
Hey, our three values of World Association of Sand Therapy are, I already mentioned competency, but we also value community and we value inclusivity. And so with that is a hearty welcome to all different sand therapists from around the world. We really want people to join us and to connect with us and really to find semblance. I know when I first started connecting with other sand therapists, and I felt very much like, these are my people. I feel deeply connected here. I really want to be in other spaces where other sand practitioners are. Whether I practice from their theoretical perspective or not, doesn't matter. We're using this medium and it's very beautiful. And I think one of our big goals is to keep working from this idea. I love what Roz said earlier, like we really want to be more than an inch deep. That's not what this is about. This is not a practice that is like a mile wide and an inch deep. This is a practice that goes deep. And we want to allow that to happen. And we believe that training is really critical for that to happen. And if I can just say, when we really look at what evidence-based practice is, one of the three legs of those stools really has to do with clinical competency and training. And we have to have that. And another legs of that stool has to do with ongoing research. We have to have that. And then it has to do with what are the values of the person that we're working with? What are the client values? Do they enjoy and value this? And we find that many of our clients value the sand therapy experience. They love it once introduced to that, but they have to have the opportunity. And for us to provide the opportunity, we have to be skilled. And I believe very strongly in us developing our skill sets to that regard.
Oh, yes.
One other thing that I'd just like to throw out there is this is another area I percolate on, is how do you train in a way that allows people to really have a deep engagement with the material? And so I really believe in experiential learning. And so I did want to add that we're going to have our hands in the sand almost in every workshop, and definitely in the keynote. I'm going to give people an opportunity to do some work, and because that's, I think, where we deepen our own skill sets and our own connection to community. And so I just wanted to say that, because this won't be like a didactic presentation. I've been to a lot of presentations on sand therapy of different types, and sometimes we're looking a lot at clinical slides, which I love, by the way, but my hands are always itching. And so, I can look at a clinical slide, but if my hands are doing something, I do a lot of countertransference work in the sand in response to things I'm looking at. So I just really hope that people coming understand that, this is going to be the didactic for sure, but in addition to that, the experiential piece, because I think that's what sets conferences apart sometimes, is just this ability to make it make sense to me and know that I can leave and I can try something tomorrow because I had that experience and I knew what that felt like. So I just wanted to throw that out. So
I think that's amazing. And like you actually get to do some sand therapy work right there in the conference. Some of those trainings just feel like you've had therapy yourself.
Absolutely.
Right through the trial. When I went to Marshall's workshop in Austin, Texas. It was training, but it felt like the best therapy I'd ever had.
Yep. That's right.
And that's why I think we were so grateful, Eliana, that you are spearheading this and using the wisdom that you have, and that you know what it is to go deep and to go into that liminal space with clients and to offer that in a very inviting way. And that sets the tone for the rest of the conference. And so we're very grateful to you for sharing that with us.
That's very nice of you to say. Thank you so much.
We are thrilled, Eliana, that you're providing our keynote. Just so thrilled.
Thank you.
And because as you said earlier, like really thinking about how do you train people towards this deepening process and being there with the sand. I think that's one of the elements I'm most excited about, is to be breathing the same air with other people in the same room, where I might work in the sand and I can pull a friend over and say, look at this, and I can look at theirs, and we can experience that together in a way that we cannot through Zoom trainings. Yes. And a lot of us have had those trainings for the past few years.
I had this funny experience. I went to Texas to do a training. That was the first one out, and we were in person. And at one point I said to people, any questions, any comments, anything? And they for some reason, they weren't feeling it. They weren't feeling as comfortable. And I said to them, just unmute. And once you're just unmute, and then you can ask. And then everybody cracked up, and then they were able to come forward. But it is funny because there's so much language that we've acquired and experiences that we've had online that, just it's a different situation being with people and just being around and touching shoulders. And I noticed everybody was much more affectionate than I've ever seen them before. So anyway, it's just fun to get back out and have contact with people that's a little different.
And then put the hand sanitizer on, then that's okay.
That's right. That's right.
And Lillian, you said you're going to have some good food there, right?
Some good food. And let me tell you, well, Eliana, I booked your hotel room today. So you have a bed to sleep in. And just so you know, if you would like to stay at La Fonda when you come to our conference, the special rate is up on February 7th. So, that it's a pretty good rate that they've given us for our conference. So it's worth getting.
It's one of the oldest hotels in Santa Fe. It's just gorgeous there. It really is.
They have a beautiful website, just if you want to sort of see what it looks like to experience.
I can imagine all those sand tray therapists, sand plate therapists, like looking around them, like have little knickknacks and stuff, be like, oh, there's a good miniature. There's a good miniature.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we have some great vendors coming too.
Ooh, okay. Who's coming for vendors, or would you like to say?
Can I say that one, Roz? Do you think that's okay? Georgia Mann's coming.
Yay. I was hoping and praying.
So we'll have links, whatever links you give me, I'll put below this, and I'm excited. It's going to be an amazing conference. Well, thank you so much. Before we finish up, anything else you'd like to say?
We want to thank you for your generosity,
Oh.
Jackie. It's just in hosting us and in helping to let us share what our mutual love of sand and all things with children and teens and adults. You are just helping spread the word, and we're just so grateful. So
Oh
grateful.
my goodness. Thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you. Thanks for allowing me to be with you. And thanks for even, organizing the World Association for Sand Therapy Professionals. I know you all are volunteers and you're giving of your passion and your
Wait, what do you mean volunteers? Nobody. Oh, wait, I didn't get a check. Okay, I'm sorry.
The check's in the mail, Roz.
There you go. Where
Volunteers? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I'm excited about the conference. It's going to be a great one.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.